Good morning class, welcome to your daily current affairs on paper Hindu. So let's go with today's articles. So yeah, the first one is your consumer inflation. For this particular month it has been slowed down, so in the last particular month. So let's go. If we see this article, India's retail inflation slid down below 6% for the first time in 2023. From January it did not go below 6%. Actually our inflation targeting is 4 plus or minus 2%, that means it varies from 2 to 6%, right? And for the first 3 months of this particular year till March, it was above 6% only. So inflation targeted one hasn't been achieved, but for the first time in this month, it has slid below 6% and reached 5.66%. This is due to the slowdown in food inflation that you need to understand. Okay. So the drop was aided by the base effect, as the same month had recorded almost 7% of price rise last year. So last year March, if you would have compared, the level of inflation was 7%. Because of this base effect comparison, this month, this year, it has shown a slid down to 5.66%. So is it really sliding down to 6% below? No, it is because of effects of your base year. So March inflation level was seen in the last 2021, following which the price rose at a pace faster than the central bank's upper tolerance level 6%. So target level was 6% and above, and it is below 6%. However, it has increased beyond this inflation targeting. That is what they have mentioned. Fine. Next. Skipping on the local news. I would like to suggest you to go with this particular editorial, follow the Telegram channel to download this particular document. It is a very good perspective on women issues who are involved into Maoism. So Maois and how the gender discrimination is there. Important perspective, a different perspective. So just go with that particular article. So as we are not discussing your editorials part, so it's on your head to do. Okay, fine. So Stalin asked a state to pass resolutions to fix time limit for governors to clear bills. So for the first time, this is actually a political news, but what is important for us is that Stalin is again Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. He has mentioned that governors are actually the representatives appointed by center here. So they are independent bodies who will be directly reporting to president. Now if there is a different political party at the center and state, so when there are different parties, obviously there is growing tussle between both, and now governor is acting as a person representing the center, and wantedly they are trying to delay the passage of bills. So now the states which are all affecting this particular issue, he has called for all those states to come up with a particular resolution mechanism, to pass resolutions in each individual state, stating that from governor if a bill has to be passed or it has to be rejected, whatever it is, there should be a clear time frame. So there should be a specific time frame in order to clear bills by the governor. So he has asked other governments which are not of central government. So other states he has asked, he has called for to pass these resolutions in order to clear bills in a specific time by governor. Okay, only that part is important as part of this particular article. Next. Israel's minister visits to India might include FTA talks. So free trade agreement, Israel minister. So an India-Israel free trade agreement is expected on the agenda during the upcoming visit of Israeli Economic Minister Nir Barkat. Sources tell, as Aviv told to the Hindu. Most probably the situation is that Israel Economy Ministry is going to visit India, which means they are going to discuss on trade relations, financial relations. So obviously there is an expectation that free trade agreement will be happening between Israel and India, right? Next. So this is Rajnath Singh, Defence Minister, right? So what is happening? Follow gold standard of open tender route in defence procurement, says Rajnath. So open procurement, have open procurement, call everyone in a free manner. for private procurements or with other state governments, other nations procurement, have it an open door for everyone. Let it be fair tender and let us get our weapons or any other defense material procured. That's what Rajnath Singh has told. So, in the case of procurement of defense platforms and equipment, either under capital or revenue route, the gold standard of open tender should be adopted to the extent possible. So, the maximum extent possible, make sure that it is open tender followed. Okay, that is what he has mentioned. It is pertinent to note that some of the biggest deals recently have been through intergovernmental agreements. So, he is also mentioned that probably, but mostly we can observe that whatever the defense deals that we had, it is mostly related to intergovernments. That means from our nation to Russia, to our nation to America, we had intergovernmental agreements. Now, let us follow open tender. So, if at all HCL is important or HAL is HAL, Hindustan Aeronautical Limited, if it is coming with a particular product, let us have an open tender. So, even if a nation is coming up with that particular tender, let us have an open competition. Whoever gives a proper bid and not compromising on the quality will go for that particular product. So, he has mentioned that currently we had these many agreements in which we have procured 36, so we will be having procurement in 36 Rafale jets, so Rafale fighter jets, and S-400 long range air defense systems, and also 4 stealth frigates, Navy frigates I have mentioned in your S&T. So, you have frigates, then you will also have agreement. We had an agreement that we will be procuring S-400 air defense systems and also your Rafale jets. Okay. So, that is what our procurement is. And next, why that particular article came is that again we are giving more specifications to Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-sustainment, as well as we are procuring things to make our defense stronger. That is why we are doing it. Next, so Tejas Rafale Sukhoi to face off US fighter jets at CoOp India 23. So, this is an exercise. So, if you can see Rafale, Tejas, all these are air exercises, air defense exercises. So, here now this CoOp India is between US and India's air exercise, air defense exercise, in which our Tejas, Rafale, Sukhoi are going to face off US fighter jets. Okay. So, who is involved in CoOp India 23? What are the countries? US and India. Okay, fine. So, the light combat aircraft Tejas, Rafale, Sukhoi MKI and joggers of Indian Air Force are all set to undertake maneuvers with F-15 fighters. So, these are again state of art of USS. F-15 fighters, B-1B long range bombers, US Air Force from Thursday under the second phase of ongoing bilateral air exercise. Bilateral air exercise. That means only 2 countries will be involved and it is air exercise, not naval exercise, not any military exercise. So, this is air defense exercise by US and India and it is named as CoOp India 23. Okay. So, the air defense vehicles which are from India is Tejas, Sukhoi, then you have Rafale and joggers, whereas from USA what you have? F-15 fighters and B-1B long range bombers. So, that we are going to combat, not combat but have a air exercise, that is all. Fine. Next, SC asks if Mishra report can be used to decide on quota for Dalit converts now. So, Supreme Court has said that it has showcased that in 2007 there was one particular report of Justice Ranganath Mishra Commission. So, there was one commission for religious and linguistic minorities which recommended that scheduled caste reservations for Dalit converts and Christianity and Islam is not at all perfectionary, adding that the government may need to recheck its stance on the report. So, what it has told is this particular Mishra committee has told that there might be possibility to issue reservations based on reservations for SCs, scheduled caste, even if they are converting into Islam or Christianity. But how far it is genuine, again you have to recheck for the details. That is what that particular report has been given. Now, Supreme Court has asked that how far can we give this reservations to these converted Christians or converted Muslims from SC community. Okay. So, for that what government has replied? So the government has argued that Dalits who converted to Christianity or Islam to overcome burdens of the caste cannot claim reservation benefits and enjoyed by those who choose to stay back in the Hindu religious system. Now the reservation is given for based on the caste reservation we are giving because they are socially economically weaker sections. It's not only economically weaker section. So SCs and STs are not alone they are not only the economically backward sections but also socially backward sections. That means people, I mean not in urban areas completely, but still it is prevalent that people are not accepting these particular communities into the society. They are still facing the social stigma, right? Discrimination in the society. It's not, even if they are rich, still they are facing this discrimination. So what government has argued is that the reservations which we are giving to SC community is because of their socio-economic status, weaker sections. We cannot give the same to the one who have converted into Christianity or Islam because they choose to quit Hindu religion and go into some Christianity or Islam. For that, what Supreme Court has mentioned is that, but Justice Amanullah said that. So Supreme Court Justice, the one who is arguing against the government, he has mentioned that the social stigma may continue to be attached to the members historically backward communities among Hindus who can convert to Christian and Islam to overcome caste oppression. Justice Kaul said that the court would look into the question whether the caste system can be imported into Islam or Christianity. That means what government has told is that, I mean what Supreme Court has told is, yes, that is fine. They are converting into some other community to make sure that they are not being oppressed in these particular religions. However, is it definitely sure that this caste system or this kind of discrimination is absent in Islam or Christianity? Are you sure? So first thing is, what is the possibility that there are also further caste based discrimination? So we have in Hindus, we have caste based discrimination. If at all they are converting into Christian or Islam, will this caste be penetrated into these religions or not? That possibility we need to check. If at all that is happening, then definitely they are also liable to reservation. That is what Supreme Court has mentioned. So unless there is a categorical study of the current data, there is no question of going into the constitutional issues now. The commission is going to do its work. So let the commission do its work. So let us form a commission, let the commission do its work. Let us come up with a proper current data. Analyze. However, we are going to get census, right? It has been postponed because of pandemic. So after getting census, they will also have this particular data ready on how far the Christianity or Islam converted. So the SC community who are converted into Christianity and Islam, how far they are facing this socio-economic discrimination. That they will be able to identify, through which they will decide if at all there is any requirement for constitutional amendment on providing reservations for these converted people. Okay, next. Credit system will integrate general and vocational education. So general education from class 1 to class 10 or higher education, whatever it is, you will do it as an education purpose. Like for your clearing of your exams and to have your grade system, you will have these exams. And what is your vocational education? Suppose I wanted to go into IT industry, information technology, I have to go into that particular services. I need to have my skills developed. Now if at all I don't know anything about any particular language or any technical knowledge regarding IT, I can't go into that particular field. So I need to make myself skilled. Suppose if at all I wanted to go into some kind of AWS. So I need to, AWS project, I need to make myself equipped. If I wanted to go with a project related to AI, I need to make myself equipped or I need to make myself skilled in artificial intelligence or ML, machine learning. So these are like vocational training which will give me skills to make me ready for the industry, right? So this is not similar to your general education. Now what they are trying to do, they are going to integrate both by giving a proper credit system. So credits will be given based on their vocational education as well as your general education. Says Jagdish Kumar. So University Grants Commission, UGC chairman is Mr. Jagdish Kumar. He has said recently that the National Credit Framework NCRF would function as a broad enabling framework for all regulatory organizations and universities, including institutions of national importance. So whatever the institutions are there of national importance, all these things will be integrated. So yes, he said that the National Education Policy 2020, we have NEP policy, right, 2020, put emphasis on integration of general academic education and vocational education, skill education, which would provide seamless horizontal and vertical mobility below the two streams of lifelong learning. So what they are going to do? They are going to integrate both. So they have given the credits also, how it will be dealt. So let's see here. So every semester a student is required to earn minimum of 20 credits every year. So even now if you are going to any other your education system, so if you are in under any university, you will be having credits. You would have not, some people might not have seen it clearly. Based on each semester you will be having, if you pass this particular test or if you have created this particular internship, then you will be awarded certain credits, and these credits are now dynamic. So only your subject knowledge will not be sufficing. So what are they going to do? Student is required to have minimum 20 credits. The student earns 40 credits in 1 year, corresponding to 1200 national learning hours. So if they are having in an year 1200 learning hours, so with attendance, then they will be giving this 40 credits. In this 20 credits is enough for passing a year. Okay. So but students also can earn more than 60 credits in a year. Where? Through vocational education. Okay. Other 40 credits you can earn. So we have mentioned that here. So under the system, 1 credit corresponds to 30 learning hours in a year. So on an average, see, 40 credits for 1200 hours. Then obviously for 30 hours you will be getting one particular credit. So ensuring that even if they are spending on vocational education, that hours will also be counted. That is what they meant here. Okay. Next. So no need to go about the entire credits. You can understand that yes, they are opting for credit system for passing. It is already existing, but what they are trying to do, they are integrating vocational education with general education to make the student ready as soon as they clear the particular exam. So once they are out of their education system, they can be directly taken into particular industry or particular manufacturing, whatever the service they opt for. Internship too. So internship is something which gives you, which makes you ready. That's what it is, one of your vocational course where it will make you ready for that particular course. What they are trying to do, now even if they go to internship, that hours will also be counted. Are you able to understand? So if they are opting for an internship, that is a vocational training. They will count that also. If they are going to workshop, that will also be counted. Seminars, that will also be counted. Right? Next. US Aviation Watchdog retains India's safety category after review. So India has given category 1. So after reviewing India's aviation safety policy, because recently there are, like whenever there is an aviation exercise that is going on, so even during Independence or during Republic Day, aviation exercises will be happening. So aircrafts will be going, different colors, all these exercises will be happening, right? During this time there will be plenty of accidents that are occurring. So in that background, US have reviewed India's safety aviation policies, and it has retained that yes, the safety methodologies that they are following is in line with international mechanism. So let's go with the article. The Aviation Safety Regulator, US Federal Aviation Administration, has retained category 1 status for India's aviation oversight. Yes. Aviation oversight. Following a review, the agency informed India's country. So a country's watchdog on Wednesday. What it has said? The International Aviation Safety Assessment. So what is the assessment called? That is, assessment is International Aviation Safety Assessment Program of FAA determines, so this is the agency, whether a country's oversight its airlines are operated to wish to operate to the US or enter into codeshare partnership with the US carriers comply with safety standards or not. So the one which has to be flown into other countries, US, that should be accepting or should be in the lines of this IASA, which is International Aviation Safety Assessment. So it should be in same lines, and then it has understood after reviewing, it has retained that yes, India is following all these safety measures which we had, and the convention is through UN Aviation Watchdog, International Civil Aviation Organization. This is the one which has established this particular standards, and India is following this, that they have mentioned. Okay, fine. So in India, who is responsible for this aviation is DGCA. Okay, Directorate General. Where is this? Just a minute. Yes, I wanted to show you, that's all. Yeah, see, Director General of Civil Aviation, that's all. That is the one which is responsible for this air safety measures in India. Next. So far I have not been covering much of your international affairs, only very few which are actually related, because most often they are talking about Russia and Ukraine war, which is not everyday business for us to learn. However, the articles like this are important. So what is this about? Taliban say there is no obstacle for UN to work in Afghanistan. So what is this article? I will give you a gist. Now, after Taliban's taken over the government of Afghanistan, they've created strict rules against women empowerment. They've told that women no need to read. Women after a particular age, they don't need to go to colleges. And now they've mentioned that no woman should be working in any of the offices. So women should be restricted to home only. They should not have any kind of employment, that can be public or that can be private. No employment facility, they should be in home only. So that is what the regulations given by Taliban, and now they've taken a step forward that UN women, so in UN some other foreign delegates will be there. That UN office they will be working. Now they've given a particular regulation that in UN, who are the women they are working in UN, that irrespective of their country's backdrop, they should also not be working in their country. You should be removing that women too. So then UN told that we will not be accepting this. We will not be working in Afghanistan. So that is what Afghanistan has told, that we are not against the work of UN, but we are against the women work in UN. That's what their thing is. So UN has clearly mentioned that no, we are not going to work there. That is the result. Okay. You can add this. You can add this in case where in the world scenario how the women empowerment is there. In such cases, the worst scenario you can explain Afghanistan. Okay. Next. Even in Gulf countries it is improving, but here in Afghanistan it is deteriorating. RBI issues circular to regulate penal interest. So what is this penal interest? Now, let's say I have taken a loan. Okay, I have taken a loan in bank. Let's say I have taken education loan. I have taken this loan. Now, after taking up this loan, I will be having, let's say, car loan, education loan, car loan. Every month I have to pay my interest. So I have to pay certain amount reback to bank. If at all I am not paying that particular amount during that particular time frame, then I will be having certain fine. That is your penal interest. Right now, RBI is going to draft this circular to regulate penal interest. So how you should be giving this penal interest? It is bank dependent. One particular bank will be giving its own regulations. So now they are going to again properly regularize, properly regularize this penal interest. So they are going to draft. Okay. So the Reserve Bank of India has issued a draft circular on fair lending practice, penal charges on loan accounts to regulate penal interest levied by lenders. So it should not be on the whims and fantasies of that particular lender. So bank cannot issue on its own discretionary power of its own legal or penal interests. So that RBI has given its draft notification to all its banks, okay, to make sure that there is fair lending process, and even the penal interest should be at common or acceptable level, minimum level, not maximum, not minimum, the optimum level should be there. Okay, so that is about this article. Next, there is one article left, your explanatory article, important, and this one. So currently retail inflation declines, as I already told you, 5.66%, and now the efficiency, or what is the functioning, the role of parliamentary committees. So we already know parliamentary, how far, or on an yearly basis, how many times parliament should be functioning or should be having meetings? How many times? Constitutionally guaranteed, constitution mentioned how many times should these houses meet in a year? How often should they meet? Online students, I am asking through constitution, what should be the minimum time frame that on a year, often, how often should parliament be meeting? I will tell you now. So, in parliament, I mean on an yearly basis, as per constitution, the minimum time frame, I mean the maximum time frame allowed is 6 months. That means at least twice a year they have to meet for sure, and in India the standard practice is 3 times. So they meet 3 times. Now on an year the parliament houses they are meeting for 3 times. Then what about the issues? If they are framing any laws, how are they functioning, or in which areas they have to have these laws to be framed? Who will be responsible? That is where you get your parliamentary committees. So what they do? They go in-depth investigation. So you have all these technical people in these parliamentary committees. You have different houses, all these ministers or executive people will be there in this parliamentary committee. They will discuss, debate on what are the possibilities or what are the areas that these laws should be framed, and they come up with a proper criticism or proper favorite statement. Okay, so they are basically what? A report giving mechanism, that's all. Okay, mechanisms. So now I've already told now what is their role. Let me go with the gist. So there has been a declining trend of national legislation being subjected to expert scrutiny. So who is this expert scrutiny? Parliamentary committee is your expert scrutiny. So during the course of 17th Lok Sabha, which is current Lok Sabha, only 14 bills have been referred for the further examination so far as per the data of PRS. So PRS India is again media of your government. So whatever the gist you need, whatever you want, you can go to PRS India. So PRS, as little as 25% of the bills are introduced were referred to the committees in 16th Lok Sabha. Just a moment. So let me read out again. So as per the data given by PRS, as little as 25% of the bills introduced were referred to committees in 16th Lok Sabha as compared to 71% and 60% in 15th and 14th Lok Sabha. That means they are not referring it to general scrutiny, I mean to the expert scrutiny, they are not referring to. This level is reducing, and so far in 17th Lok Sabha only 14 bills have been referred, and in 16th Lok Sabha only 25% of the bills that have been passed have been referred to parliamentary committees. Also compared to the previous year, in 16th Lok Sabha it was around 25%, whereas in 15th it was 71% and 14th it was 60% of the bills which were referred to parliamentary committees. And now the expert scrutiny has been reducing because to make sure that the bills are being passed to acts. Okay, that is what they are trying to do. Next, but this scrutiny mechanism is necessary. Okay, so the committees go into the details of a single piece of legislation, analyze the impact it may go on governance indicators, and then make the recommendations. As I told you, that is an expert committee. It will take all the possible data available in India or in that particular community. It will scrutiny clear it, then it will make its own recommendation. It will form these indicators. If required, it will also form another commission. It will make sure that the data is relevant, and even though committee reports aren't binding on the government, it helps the legislature to ensure an oversight on the executive. So what is trying to do? Whatever the recommendations that are being offered by parliamentary committee, it is not binding on the parliament. However, whatever the report they give, they can at least understand the scenario, right, on which areas they have to frame laws. Is it really necessary to have that particular bill be passed? All these data will be given by parliamentary committee, but it is not binding. Next, the parliament could consider a compulsory referral for the bills that are tabled on the floor to the appropriate committees, arming them with more powers to help them accountability from the executive. So what they are trying to do at the end, as a way forward, the suggestion is that whatever the bill that is being introduced in the parliament should be compulsorily be introduced or should be given to scrutiny for parliamentary committees to ensure there is efficiency from parliamentary committees and dependency of executive on them, and also we can make them binding on these people. Okay, that we can do. That is overall about this article. So they have also mentioned few areas like several important laws such as Prohibition of Child Marriage Act bill that seeks the legal age. Now the legal age from 18 they are trying to improve it, increase it to 21. So what are the possible implications? Anti-maritime policy bill that brings out the enactment of UN Convention of Law of Sea and for combating piracy in the high seas. Then Jan Viswas bill that amends 42 laws across sectors like agriculture, media that extends. All these were referred to committees. Currently all these bills are referred to committees, but that is not it. We need more and more bills. Whatever the bills that are being introduced into parliament should be given to parliamentary committee scrutiny. That is when you will be able to bring out efficiency. That is about entirely about this article. You can just go through and read. There is nothing more to explain. So the data which I have mentioned, so in 16th Lok Sabha it was around 14% of the bills, whereas in 15th Lok Sabha it was 71, and in your 14th Lok Sabha it was 60% of the bills that were introduced into parliamentary committees. Okay, so that level of efficiency should be increased. Constructive criticism on parliamentary efficiency through parliamentary committees. Okay, the role of parliamentary committees, you can add it, very important. Okay, so that's it for today. We'll meet in another session. This article not important, so yes, we'll meet another session. Thank you, good day.